Hello again, and today is the first day of work on the 1958 Pontiac. So the situation is that we're waiting for the DVLA to register the vehicle. All the documents have been sent. It's been about 2 weeks now. They are notoriously a little bit slow with these things. They say 4 to 6 weeks. So yeah, we'll wait and see. Hopefully there's no problems. Registering the Mini happened pretty quickly. It took about 4 weeks. So yeah, the sooner the better, as long as it's before the end of August when Dad arrives, so that we can at least drive the car on the road. But notwithstanding that, there are a few priority items that need attention. So I'm going to get stuck in with that and sort it out. Starting with the radiator. So this is the beast, and I'm just going to show you how the radiator has deteriorated and needs a recore. So if you see here on the top left-hand corner, you can see how that's all crumbled away. The rest of the radiator looks pretty good. A few bugs stuck in there all the way from Africa. And you can see here in the top right-hand corner how that is all just crumbled away. There's no big leaks at the moment, but obviously that jeopardizes cooling. And it's just a matter of time, I think, before we get a big leak coming out there. Car is fitted with a radiator here for the gearbox. So the gearbox is kept nice and cool, which is a nice addition. So yeah, I've called a company today, and they say they can help me. I just need to bring the radiator in and they can have a look at it and see what sort of solution they can find to recore the radiator. I've looked online for new radiators. They generally are all a little on the big side. So also I think to keep the authentic look, is nice to have the original radiator, but perhaps we can do a dual core just to improve cooling. So you can see here on the inside, you can see the core there that is starting to crumble and to leak ever so slightly. And on the other side, you can see it's pretty bad. So yeah, don't want to be hurling down the road the very first time and spring a leak and be stuck at the side of the road. So yeah, priority number one, get the radiator sorted. The second priority is then there's some servicing that's needed. The car is running very rich, and I think it's probably carburation. So I'm just going to take the carburetor off, give it a clean, and then we'll do some carburetor tuning. Hopefully that'll make a difference. But yeah, priority one, get that radiator sorted. Everything else will be secondary. Just going to start here with the tap and just drain some of the water out just slowly before I take the hoses off. And then start the flood. Initial impressions, coolant looks good, contains antifreeze. Not sort of muddy and murky as you would expect in an old car. So clearly this has been very well maintained with antifreeze. I'm just going to take the top radiator cap off, get some more air in the system, and it'll drain quicker. You can see the color of the coolant. Got lots of antifreeze in there, so this is just an age-related thing. I don't know how long it's had antifreeze in there, but it certainly protected the radiator this far. Last little bit. And then next up is to get this bottom pipe off, then the top pipe, and then undo the radiator shroud. Also remove the transmission cooler in the front, and then hopefully this should lift straight out. Just a little bit of brown sludge in there, not too bad. Just need to remove the shroud over here. It's 3 bolts each side, Before that, I just need to loosen the transmission radiator at the front. Right, now theoretically it should just lift straight out. So the bottom hose is a little bit blocked there, but let's see what we can do. And it's still pretty heavy. Something just jamming it in there. It's the cooler which is still attached. Just had to remove the transmission cooler pipe as the radiator seems to be stuck to the water radiator. Just waiting for that oil to drain out, and then I'll try and lift it out without making too much mess. There it goes. There we go. Right. Get it down to the radiator place, see what they can do. Welcome back. And through the magic of video editing, it is now 2 weeks later, and I have the radiator back from the radiator place. Now, it might be 2 weeks later, but I'm 600 pounds poorer. Yes, I did say that right, 600 pounds. Of course, VAT here is 20%, and it was quite expensive to begin with. But yeah, the final bill was 600 pounds to recall the radiator. That was very expensive. The guy explained to me that it's a copper radiator, and just the copper alone for the radiator was over 200 pounds worth, plus its unique shape and size, so they have to make a bespoke core for the radiator. So yeah, let's see what 600 pounds gets us. So we have the original oil cooler for the gearbox. They have pressure tested it just to make sure that it is all fully operational. So that's as it was. And then, yeah. And yeah, here we are. I can see we've retained the original top tank, bottom tank, and brackets up the sides. And that is the new core just in there. You can see it's all nice and fresh and new and expensive. And it is a slightly denser core than what was originally on the radiator. So there should be more core per area, and yeah, it should improve cooling a bit. Not that cooling was really an issue. One of the good things about American cars is they really know how to cool engines, and yeah, before even I had this repaired, the car could sit and idle all day long without ever getting hot, so cooling was never really an issue. But yeah, that's what a new 600 pounds worth of radiator recore looks like. And I guess if I think, well, you know, the car's 60 years old, 60 something years old, 600 pounds, if it lasts another 60 years, I think that's probably pretty good value. At least that's how I justify it to myself, because this, as far as I can tell, is the original radiator from the car. So yeah, yeah, let's get it in, and we can get the car started up. Let's get those bolts in. Lining up that last bolt was really very tricky. Just didn't quite line up. Ended up having to take the battery out. But should all be good now. I'll just tighten up and start putting things back together. Whew, it's amazing how I start off with whatever spanners that I need for the job, and by the time I'm almost done, I have almost every spanner I have out and open. Whew. Alright, so got those bolts done. I've removed the battery, so I just have to put that back in again, and then you just have a look here. And still spinning well, good. And yeah, then I need to put the oil cooler back on and connect up all the pipes, fill her up, and then we're good to go. Always like to give it a good wipe down, especially in areas where we're unlikely to go again in the near future. So right here behind the battery, just give it a little wipe. Well, hello again. So the radiator is in. I've put all the pipes back on. I'm about to put the gearbox cooler back in, but then while I was looking back here, I noticed something which I hadn't noticed before. Let me show you. You'll see here where the cooling cowling touches the radiator. I looked back at some previous video, and there's a small gap between the cowling and the original radiator, which means this radiator is slightly thicker than the previous one, which means that tightening up the cowling has pushed it against the radiator here. So I need to undo all those nuts and bolts again. I'm going to put a little spacer here to push the cowling out just a little bit to give it some clearance from the radiator. So yeah, I have to do all those bolts again. Right, so it went a little quicker the second time. So you can have a look here. I've put just a little 2 spaces in there just to push the shroud out a little bit further. And now we have that gap between the shroud and the radiator, so it's not touching the radiator. So yeah, all good. Now it's time for the cooler for the gearbox. Now previously the cooler had 4 bolts holding it in against the radiator, but those bolts went all the way through the radiator, meaning that the radiator had to be slightly damaged to get those bolts through. Now, what I've got in its place is what they call a fan fitting kit. What it is a ratchet pin, and it comes with a little spike that goes on the end, and it pulls tight. So what you do is you place this through the hole, you pull that through the radiator, you put the little spring on the back, and then you put the little ratchet on. You pull it tight against the radiator, and then you clip the end of the ratchet off. So that pulls it up against the radiator. Now, I don't want this to sit flush with the radiator, so I've taken some inner tube and I've punched a hole in it, and we'll get that through to give it a little bit of cushioning up against the radiator, like so. Let's get that. There we go. So that'll pull against the radiator here, spring and ratchet, and it'll pull it up against the radiator rather than having bolts, and that way we won't damage the radiator. Well, yes, I am sweating. That was quite the job. What I thought was just a little finishing off turned out to be quite a major undertaking. So the gearbox cooler is back in, but man, trying to get those holes lined up to get those cable tie fan fitting kit items through the radiator. Wow, that definitely took quite a bit, because the problem is we have the radiator shroud on the other side. Very difficult to go and line them up here, but yeah, I think we're all good. Battery's back in, and now it's time to put some water in, and then we can get things started. Now it is time to fill up. I like to use deionized water. I think it's the same as condensed water. It doesn't contain any corrosion chemicals that water does, so you can actually fill up the entire radiator with deionized water and it will not corrode at all. But I do add a little bit of glycol, which is a more traditional antifreeze, if you like, or antifreeze for older vehicles. It's the blue one, which is modern vehicles take the yellow or the green one, just for a little bit of added anti-corrosion. The antifreeze is not really required because of the temperatures here, but it does add that extra little bit of comfort. But yeah, deionized water, and then we'll never ever have an issue again. Now I have quickly checked underneath. This is where typically mechanics get what they call wet foot syndrome, when you've forgotten to tighten the pipe at the bottom and the water just runs straight through out the bottom and all over your foot. But yeah, I've checked it. It looks good. Now I'm just going to put some blue coal in here. Of course, doing 8 of these takes a little bit longer than a normal little engine. Yeah, they look all right. Give them a little bit of a clean. Check the gap. Yeah, all good. Put that back in again. Let's just double check. All easy to get to, which is nice. The small block has got the plugs above the exhaust manifold, which makes a nice difference. The last one. Oh dear, we have a problem. This is from the inside the high tension lead. Okay, I have to look at that. That might be our misfiring problem. quite sooty, but not too bad. Let's just give it a clean. Okay, so when I pulled this plug lead off, the little metal clip stayed behind. Obviously, that had been wearing over time, I guess, from pulling it on and off, checking plugs and that sort of thing. And that may well explain the intermittent misfire that we've got. Anyway, to replace that on the plug side is very difficult because this is a sealed end piece of the plug lead here. So what I've had to do is get a new set of plug leads, and they come with the plug side already fitted. You can see over here it's all ready to go on. So what I need to do is measure each plug lead, and then the end can be cut to size, and we can fit an end piece on to go on to the distributor. So yeah, I'm going to crack on with that, and I'm going to start with the longest lead and then work my way down to the shortest lead, and I'll feed it through to the distributor, make sure it's the right length, and then I've got these plug crimping tool, thanks Dave, which I'm going to use to put the end on, and then the car will have a new set of plug leads. All good. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay. There we go. The cut is made. Now we have to cut back around 1 centimeter of the outer core, bend it back, and fit the ending. Go. Good to go. I think that's quite well insulated there. Just pull the cap over there. There we go. Right, I think we're good there. That's 1. 7 more to go. And in case you're wondering how I'm doing all of this and just taking all the plug leads off and not marking them, well, I came across this original tuning sheet for my engine. This is for the 283 cubic inch engine, which is installed in the Pontiac. It's from a 1960 and 61 Corvette. And it has things like firing order there, or cylinder numbers, firing order of the distributor. So I'm able to line it all up, and I've laminated this so that I can keep it in the garage. Well, there she is. Oh, such a beautiful thing. Well, with those new Sparkplug wires and the recalled radiator, managed to start her up, get her out, and today I'm going to give her a bit of a wash. She hasn't been washed since, if you click up here, this video when we were driving her in Cape Town, has not had a wash since then. And since then, it's been stored at the docks in Cape Town, transferred into a container, shipped all the way from Africa, unloaded here into a shipping yard, transferred to a freight receiving center. And as a result, if you look closely here, you can see there's a fine layer of black dust and dirt that settled on the car over time. You can see there. So just going to give it a bit of a clean and get it looking ship shape again. Although it is threatening to drizzle a little bit, so yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, let's give it a bit of a clean. Well, that was quite a job. It's a lot more real estate than you realize, and you only really realize once you start trying to wash it all. But I think it looks amazing. What do you think? Let's have a look around. So I've just given it a bit of a shampoo and given the bumpers a light little polish just to get rid of some of the surface corrosion. But looks fantastic. Now, I would like nothing more than to end this video by taking you on a test drive. However, it seems the easy part is shipping a car all the way from Africa to the UK. The really complicated part is registering it in the UK. So the DVLA, our registering authority, has rejected my registration request. And now the struggle continues. So fabulous car, come a long way. Can't do anything with it until we get the bureaucrats to recognize it. So the struggle continues, and hopefully next time we'll be able to take you for a drive. Till then, thanks for watching. Bye.